Okay, it's been a while, but she's back. Andrea Beaman, and we are going to be talking about Candida. Yes, not the song Candida, but the actual overgrowth that I believe many of us are experiencing. So fasten your seatbelt. We're going to learn and grow together. So I'm pretty sure the music's going to start soon, if it hasn't started already. Maybe my timing is off today. I don't know. But I know it's going to be time to dance pretty soon. Are we on yet? Brian is keeping... it's been on. We just couldn't hear it. There you go. Time to dance, Andrea.
I'll be right here. And when you need a friend, you can count on me. I'll be right here waiting for you.
A gentle tap.
This is the place you can always turn to when you need a friend. The
Still,
Lillian McDermott Show.
Rip Esselstyn.
Reach out to Lillian, visit
Let
her
it
on the
rip
web.
when he was dancing.
If you need a friend, now let's all learn together. Here's Lillian McDermott.
Hello, my listening friend. It's so nice we can meet each other on the air on this beautiful best day ever. And for those of you who are new to the Lillian McDermott radio show, the purpose of the show is to provide a safe place so that you can go to when you need a friend. It is my commitment to provide alternative ways to heal, and it is my mission to make awareness, responsibility, and truth a part of our everyday life. And I hope you, my listening friend, and my viewers will feel empowered to live the life of your dreams while you're embracing a new truth. Now, today, we're going to be doing a show about Candida. And I'm asking for you, all the guys who just turned the radio off, before you turn it off, I want you to continue to listen because Candida affects you too. So here, listen to these symptoms. Do you have impaired memory, asthma, depression, anxiety, leaky gut, hair loss, prostatitis, eczema, impotence, thyroid issues, or cancer? These are just a few conditions caused by Candida overgrowth. Now, hopefully I have your attention, both men and women. This affects us all. And I have received so many requests to go back and do another Candida cleanse on the show, to learn a little bit more about how do we eliminate the overgrowth, because Candida is needed in our body. It has a purpose. But when it gets crazy, crazy big, overgrown, then there are consequences, side effects, but all manageable. We can all take care of this. And fortunately for us, today, of all days, health coach and chef Andrea Beaman, worldwide, world-renowned, is back to inform us about the signs, the symptoms, and how we can end this, eliminate this overgrowth. And since it is our sole purpose in life to give and receive love and knowledge, I am grateful that Andrea Beaman is back to do just that. Welcome back, Andrea, to the Lillian McDermott Radio Show.
Hello, Lillian. It's always a pleasure to be here, especially with you early in the morning.
I know. And it's always so different, you know, with your weather over there. I just found out that you guys had snow in April.
Yeah, I know. It's been crazy.
Yeah. So it's a little crazy over there. And then today we're going to forget about the weather and we're going to focus on the weather in our body, right? Mm-hmm. And so share a little bit about your background, Andrea. So for those of people that are just beginning to learn about you today, share a little bit about your background and what led you to your passion about nutrition and health.
Well, disease, you know, that's always a big wake-up call for a lot of people. Mm-hmm. You know, they get diagnosed with something and then there's this, well, what do? I have to do something, or I just keep going down that disease path. So when I was diagnosed with thyroid disease 20 years ago, I said, okay, change your diet, change your lifestyle. Otherwise, you're going to be on medication for the rest of your life. You're going to be, you know, you're going to be uncomfortable. Mm-hmm. Uncomfortable. So I changed my diet, changed my lifestyle, healed my thyroid condition. And actually, while in the midst of trying to heal my thyroid condition, I actually suffered with Candida.
Interesting.
Yeah, a Candida overgrowth. It was when I was full out macrobiotic and I was eating like probably 50 to 60% grain, which was way too much grain.
Isn't it amazing the things we think are good for us, and then all of a sudden we just like up it so much that it causes an adverse reaction? So say more about that.
Well, I had all of the symptoms of Candida, which is you eat something, you get exhausted. I'd have bloating, gas. It sounded like there was a cat living inside my gut. Like, well, craziness. You know, my whole face would break out all around my mouth with this red rash. And it was unsightly and it was uncomfortable. And the better I ate, the worse I felt. Meaning the cleaner I ate, the worse I felt, and the more the Candida grew, and I didn't understand why. I was really confused.
So
like most people are.
So at that point, you're thinking, okay, is the body detoxifying, or are you just eating the wrong foods?
Well, it was a little bit of both. You know, like how long can the body detox? Right? So somebody will go on a healing protocol and stay on too long, and that weakens the ileocecal valve, which is the valve that separates the large intestine from the small intestine. And when that valve gets weak, guess what? Your Candida, which naturally thrives in the large intestine, is going to go right up into the small intestine and eat all of your nutrition, eat all of the nutrients. And that's why people become exhausted when they have Candida overgrowth.
Interesting. And so, you know, you heard me read all these different symptoms or that people have, diagnosis. Of course, those symptoms, our body talking to us, turn into somehow diagnosis, and that sets us free to not do anything else. Once we find out that we have this diagnosis, we've just like stop doing the research that is needed, but not here on the Lillian McDermott Radio Show. Diagnoses are just symptoms that are ready to be dealt with. And we're going to continue our conversation with Andrea Beaman when we return worldwide at whenyouneedafriend.com. We'll be right here waiting for you. So you just said something to me, just said something now. So when the Candida goes into the small intestine, that's when it becomes a problem? Or
oh, yeah. Candida thrives in the large intestine. That's where it lives. You know, like there are small pockets of Candida throughout the body, but the majority of Candida, the fungus Candida, lives in the large intestine, and its job is to eat all of the other stuff that made it through the small intestine, right? And that is now going to be discharged through the large intestine in the form of a feces. So if somebody has undigested stool, you know, undigested food in the stool, then you know that something is going awry with the large intestine, right? The food never got fully digested. You're still seeing food in the poop. That's not healthy.
So what about corn? I mean, corn goes in looking like corn, it comes out looking like corn.
If you don't chew it.
Even if you chew it. So you mean that corn is just unchewable? Because it just seemed like that was, I guess we don't chew corn that much.
Yes, most people will just and swallow. That's why they come out in whole pieces. But if you take corn the way that it was traditionally made into like a porridge or a gruel or a, you know, flour, and you eat it that way, you're not going to see it in your poop.
Ah.
Yeah. So if you're just taking the corn right off the cob and just, you know, taking the whole kernels and not even chewing them, you're going to see that in your poop.
You know, the things we talk about. So when we come back, I want to share a little bit about the purpose of Candida and why Candida is needed in the body. And we don't want to get rid of Candida because that would be another problem. So I want to go into all of that. I remember when I was trying to figure out, and how much time do we have, Brian? How much time? 30 seconds. Okay, not enough time for the
not enough time to figure
the story. But it's amazing the things that we try to get rid of that are a part of our life, like bugs. You know, the hand sanitizers that, you know, we were trying to be so sterile, and it turns out that we need those little bugs.
Oh yeah,
so much.
Oh yeah, externally and internally.
And we're just like stripping our body of all this stuff. So
maybe you know, we do have bug overgrowth that needs to be dealt with, but not completely annihilated.
I'll be right here waiting. waiting for you.
Is that loud?
You can text Lillian McDermott or leave her a
Little
voicemail
loud.
at
Yeah.
407-373-5959. Once again, here's Lillian.
Welcome back to the Lillian McDermott Radio Show, where we always learn and grow with one another. And today's teacher is none other than world-renowned Andrea Beaman, who is making a difference out there, sharing the good news about health and healing naturally as possible. And so today we're talking about Candida. And you know what, men? Don't turn it off, because this isn't just about yeast infections. This is about infections in the body or symptoms in the body. And I had read them earlier: impaired memory, asthma, depression, anxiety, leaky gut, hair loss, prostatitis, eczema, impotence, thyroid issues, cancer. But here's the thing about Candida. Candida's purpose, and what I understood, and Andrea, maybe you can add to this, is when you die, Candida decomposes the body. There's everything in the body has a purpose. So we don't want to get rid of all Candida. So let's talk about the function of Candida and why it gets out of balance. And you had mentioned a little bit about going at the small intestine.
Yeah. So our Candida thrives in the large intestine, which is a really damp environment. And its job is to digest the nutrients that were not fully digested in the small intestine. You know, it's like, if you think about, because Candida is a fungus, right? So I want you to think about the job of a fungus. If you go into the forest and you look at the fungus and where it grows on decaying and dying things, right? You look at where mushrooms grow, right? They'll grow on poop, which is, decaying matter. So we need Candida to thrive in our large intestine, to take all of the nutrients from the food that made it through the small intestine, the nutrients that made it through the small intestine, and now it needs to be fully absorbed into the body, and then the waste is excreted. So that's part of Candida's job. As well as when you die, Candida comes and proliferates your system and digests your entire body. So one of the reasons why people suffering with Candida always say, I feel like I'm dying, is because the Candida has migrated from the large intestine into the small intestine, into the bloodstream, and it's now digesting you while you are alive, right? It's starting to eat all of your nutrients, and you don't want that. So some people will go on a Candida protocol, and they'll try and kill all the Candida in their body, and it's worse. Yes. It makes it worse. They'll be sick for a very long period of time, and they may not get well.
Now, you had mentioned that you were getting sick as you were eating healthier. Share a little bit about why that was true for you.
Oh, yeah. I actually I didn't understand it fully until I read a book by John Mattson, who's a naturopath in Canada, and he's got a book called Eating Alive. And in his book, he talks about the high potassium and sugar levels that are in vegetables, right? The more sun that they're exposed to, fruit and vegetables, the more potassium, the more sugar. And when we eat that, every season, all year long, we're actually sending our body mixed messages that we are somewhere else, and it throws the internal environment out of balance with the external environment, weakening the internal valves. So if your potassium and sugar are high, it alerts your kidneys out that you're out in the hot sun, and you may not be, right? It may be wintertime. It may be, you may be in the northern hemisphere. So if your body thinks you're out in the hot sun because you're eating a lot of potassium-rich foods, tons of veggies, tons of fruits, then your body doesn't release stored vitamin D. It starts to break down your bones and break down your structure over time. So this weakens all of the valves internally. So that's when you'll get GERD coming up. You'll get that, small intestine, large intestine, that ileocecal valve gets damaged. And one of the ways that you can tell that your ileocecal valve is not working well is after you eat, if you get a pain in your right side underneath maybe where the liver is, right? So it's not liver, but it's underneath. It's almost like an ache or a pain on that right side, a chronic ache or a pain. It's just that valve is very weak. It's weak. It's not working well. So people are like, my liver, but it may not necessarily be the liver.
Okay. So how do you fix that? How do you repair that?
Well, you start eating seasonally, which is unheard of in our modern times
Yes.
because everything is available all year long, everywhere. Now, this does a huge disservice for the body in many ways. So earlier, before we came on live, we were talking about the microbiome, right? And the bacteria and all that stuff. In each season, including for you, Lillian, because you're in Florida, and the seasons do change. They don't change as dramatically as they do in the northern hemisphere, but they do change. In each season, guess what changes in the soil?
What, the micro?
Yes.
Yes. Yeah.
Yes, the bacteria
Yeah.
changes in the soil in each season. In the rainy season, you have a different type of bacteria that's there. In the dry season, different type of bacteria. In the winter time, there's a different type of bacteria that lives there. A great example is in the spring and the fall, we'll have more fungus in the ground, right? You'll have much more fungus, right? Because they love damp, wet. So if we just eat one type of food all year round, we're only giving our body one type of bacteria.
Get it? Yeah.
Yes. So that also weakens our digestive center. It weakens our valves. It weakens us. It weakens our immunity. It weakens us on so many levels.
Okay. So with that in mind, eating seasonally, how do we know what seasonally is in our area? Because I eat broccoli almost every day, but that may not be good for me, right?
That's exactly right. And I was going to use broccoli as an example.
Because everybody loves broccoli, right?
Yes, and it was touted cruciferous vegetables, brassicaceae family, anti-cancer, right? Indole 3s. So we looked at it scientifically, and all of its constituents are amazing. But broccoli doesn't grow 24/7, 52 weeks out of the year. It doesn't grow naturally. It can grow in an enclosed environment. It can grow in a greenhouse, but it won't grow in the environment that you live in all year round. It won't. So that broccoli is also going to feed specific bacteria that's in your gut.
Okay. So where can we get a list of seasonal foods? Because in Florida, it's so ding dang hot that much doesn't grow in the summer. And so how do we know what is seasonal for our area?
That's a great question. So the first thing that you would do is you would go find a local farmer's market, meaning a farmer's market that's not shipping in from all other places. Local farmer's market means this is an actual market that is sourcing from the local farm. So then you'll know exactly what's growing. Now, it's interesting. You said in the summertime, it's so hot, not so much grows. But what does thrive in that heat in the summertime in Florida?
I don't know. Tell me, because I'm not a farmer. Fruit. So we should eat more fruit in the summertime.
Yes. And energetically, what is fruit? When you think about it, it's moist.
Fiber. It has
fiber.
Yeah.
It's also cooling.
Yes.
Right? It's hydrating. Right? So it has all of the things that we need in the summertime to support our physical body. So, and when I was growing up, I think in the 70s, there was a big fruitarian movement, right? They were like, fruitarian, eat fruit. Yeah. If it's the middle of summertime, go fruit crazy. Peaches, plums, nectarines, mangoes, they're practically falling off the trees and hitting people in the head in Florida, the mangoes, right?
Yep, you're right. You're right.
So eat that stuff in the summertime. It's also rich in antioxidants if you want to go into the scientific data. So we have to start to get more acclimated to what is provided for us within the season. So a farmer's market is great. If you can't find a farmer's market near you, there's a website called localharvest.org. Put in your zip code, and it'll tell you all of the farmers in your area. And if you want to go take maybe a Sunday trip and go check out the farms and see what's growing, you'll know exactly what's growing in your area at each time of the year. All you have to do is go once per year. I mean, once in a season.
And of course, there's the, groups that send the food to your home,
CSAs.
I know there's one locally that I'm working with right now, Space Girls Organics, and they ship it to you right to your home. So I'm working with them right now with the Lillian McDermott radio show because, they could teach us how to eat local.
That's right.
Well. Because it's about convenience, right? So I buy a lot of frozen foods, because it's just my husband and I do a lot of batch cooking, or I want to be able to have certain things when I want them. But you're saying that's not necessarily good for us. Okay, so now let's go to that next level and let's look at the Candida overgrowth and how we can work with our food to heal our body. If we have Candida overgrowth, then what?
Well, the first thing you want to do is you want to tighten up your valves, right?
How do you do that?
Yeah, well,
the gym?
walking, well, yeah, it's almost, it is like a gym. So like walking, one of the things that walking does is it stimulates peristalsis, the muscle contraction in the intestines. So you want to make sure that you're getting a daily walk of 45 to 50 minutes.
Wow.
Like literally walking every day, because you want that muscle action in the intestines to start doing this so that your intestines start to get stronger.
So
right?
what she's signaling, for those of you who are listening on the radio, she's actually palpitating her hands so that it's like a movement. So it's almost like the villi that goes from one section to another, right?
That's exactly right.
Contracting. And so I didn't know that the valve could, as we're walking, would contract and expand like that so that it would get tightened. That's interesting.
Well, your whole intestine, you're right. You want to increase and improve your intestinal motility, and that is going to have an impact on all of the valves that are there as well. If you were to just simply exercise one arm, right? One arm, you're going to have a big, gigantic muscle here, but it's going to have a physiological effect on the rest of your body as well. Now, it's not going to get as muscular, right? If you just simply, but it's going to create flow and movement of the lymphatic system, which is going to affect everything else in your body.
Okay.
So keep that in mind, that, it may seem like, well, it's just a walk. I'm just taking a daily walk, but it's actually very powerful. Very powerful.
Interesting. 40 to 50 minutes. Is it brisk or is it just whatever we're anybody's
brisk if you can do it?
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow. That goes against everything that we learn about exercise. So when we talk about exercise, 4 hours a week is like, okay, that's all we need, right? But you're saying every day.
Who says 4 to 5 hours is all we need?
Many doctors will say minimum, that
minimum. Yeah.
Well, we're talking exercise here for the body. You're talking exercise for the inside, our organs. So there might be some disconnect here that we need to even connect even further, because I had never heard that walking 40 to 50 minutes could bring that valve and make it our bowels contract and expand, so that the lymphatic system would be cleansing of the body too.
That's correct. And how much of our lymph lives in the digestive system?
It's all toxin. It gets rid of all our toxin.
Yes.
Okay. So with that in mind, now we're walking every day, 40 to 50 minutes. What about someone who's saying, well, I'm not capable of doing that? Rebounder, can they jump up and down?
Yeah, they could try it. Let's see what happens.
Okay.
Like some type of, and if they can't do 40 to 50 minutes, 35 minutes at least.
Okay. So there's always a compromise. We just got to figure out what works with our body and what we need. But that's interesting. I'm going to have to absorb that, because I had only, I'd heard one thing, and now we're talking about the organs, working out for our organs. It's something totally different. So, and we're going to continue our conversation with Andrea Beaman when we return worldwide at whenyouneedafriend.com. We'll be right here waiting for you. Blown away. So
daily walk, right?
Daily walk.
Simple things.
Daily walk. So that helps. Okay. So I thought we were going to talk about, how, we must avoid sugars and we must avoid this and that. But now you're saying add this to our routine, which is 40 to 50 minutes walk. I need to do that. I need to do that, because there are so many signs in our bodies. Now let's look at the signs and symptoms. How, you're talking about, because I see when somebody has fungus in their hands and their nails, I know they have Candida. Yep. What do? They take the fungus off.
We can talk about how to tighten and tone the intestines using black walnut hull, which it's one of my favorite herbs for Candida because it'll actually, the fungus doesn't like the black walnut. It'll migrate back into the large intestine to get away from black walnut, literally. It's one of those antifungal that is actually healthy for tightening and toning the intestines and getting them to be more tighter.
Mm-hmm. So black walnut hull, how do you get that?
You have to go to a health food store or you can get it online. It's really, you could even use it topically when somebody has like white patches, you know that they have Candida. You can use it topically if you put it in a carrier oil and put it on externally. You could put it on fungus, on the nail itself, but you want to take it internally as well.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
So how much do you suggest?
Well, I suggest starting small. And I don't know if you want to wait until you go back on the air.
Yes, I do. Well, okay, how much because when I was doing the Candida cleanse with Anne Baroque, she was all about, you can't have this, you can't have that, you can't have this, I don't remember, adding walking. I don't remember adding, and it was a while ago. Yeah. I don't remember the black walnut hull.
Well, most people focus on the sugar, right? Which is going to feed the bacteria. It's going to feed the fungus. It's going to feed everything. It's going to feed your cells. So it's not sustainable in the long term. In the long, like somebody will go on a Candida cleanse and they do it for 3 months and then they're so tight and so wound up, right? And they feel like they can't eat anything. And when they do eat one little tiny grape, boom, the whole thing explodes again. Mm-hmm. So it's not about just completely taking out sugar. I would take out, of course, table sugar and all that other crap, but keep in fruits, keep in lemons, keep in cranberries, keep in those low glycemic fruits, get the body back in balance, and then start to widen out and eat everything that is local, seasonal, get your walking in, because you want to balance the body so that it becomes normal again, as opposed to how many people do you know they go on a Candida diet and 5 years later, like, I'm still suffering with Candida.
I know.
Yep.
This is completely different than I thought our conversation was going to be, Andrea. You
well,
always blow me away.
You invite me.
That's right. No, because it's something totally different. At the IFM conference, and I just came back from it, so I'm going to be ad nauseum talking about this. But do you know who Dr. Robert Roundtree is?
That sounds familiar.
Oh my gosh. We're going to have him on my show. I already spoke to him about it, but he said such a profound statement, and I'll say it live on the air, and then maybe you can react to it. But that was one of my takeaways from his talk, is the way we look at autoimmune disease. So is Candida considered an autoimmune disease? Could it be an autoimmune, that we label it as an autoimmune, like we think it's an imitator of an autoimmune?
I mean, it could imitate an autoimmune condition because it does, a lot of things get messed up when you're not able to digest and absorb your own nutrients, but your fungus is eating it all. Mm-hmm. But it's not actually an autoimmune condition, Candida. Correct.
It isn't, but there are a lot of diseases that are labeled as autoimmune conditions.
Yeah.
So here we go. This is fascinating. It is ileocecal.
Ileocecal valve.
You can text Lillian McDermott or leave her a voicemail at 407-373-5959. Once again, here's Lillian.
Welcome back to the Lillian McDermott Radio Show, where you can hear us worldwide at whenyouneedafriend.com. I am your host, Lillian McDermott, and it is my goal that whoever is in front of you becomes your teacher. People can teach you how to be or how not to be. So I want to encourage you, whoever it is that you have in front of you, that you learn something new. And today's teacher on the Lillian McDermott Radio Show is none other than world-renowned health coach, Andrea Beaman, wonderful chef. She's written many, many books. You can go to andreabeaman.com if you want to learn more about her. She is blowing me away with all these things. I thought we were going to be talking about eliminate this food, eliminate. No, we're talking about how to tighten your organs and how to, eat seasonally. This is totally blowing me away, a totally different concept than what I'm used to. And so I want to encourage you to always act responsibly in your life. And when people ask me, what is your show about? I say it's about responsible living. I don't do sports. I don't do politics. I do responsible living. And with that in mind, with responsibility, that encompasses everything in your life, every aspect of your life. If you take 100% responsibility for everything, even the Candida overgrowth, I'm sure we can figure out how we create things.
Yeah.
And if you figure out how we create it, you can figure out how to uncreate it. So go to whenyouneedafriend.com. This is where we have this conversation of 100% responsibility, the responsibility that leads to freedom and empowerment. So go there, please become a subscriber. Do it right now while you're listening to this call to action. Make sure that you do subscribe. And while you're at whenyouneedafriend.com, go to my social media and like me there. Go to my YouTube videos, like it there, subscribe. Every time you subscribe, you'll get that information to you, especially when you subscribe at whenyouneedafriend.com. The shows and YouTube, if you subscribe at YouTube, will be sent to your email system, so your phones and your tablets, and you can watch it at your discretion. And so also you can hear us on demand, iTunes, Google Play Music, iHeartRadio, and Spotify. And you can always call and leave a message. So if you have a question that you would like to ask Andrea or any of my guests, you can call 407-373-5959. And while you're at whenyouneedafriend.com, one last thing. I ask that you go visit my sponsors. Without my sponsors, go to the sponsorship page. Without them, this show would not happen. So please figure out a way that you can support our sponsors the way that they are supporting the show. Now, with that being said, we've got much to cover. Andrea, thank you so much. As I said to you off the air, I am blown away, just at the little things that we're talking about. So with Candida, off the air, we were talking about the conversation of Candida, and I had said to you, I just got back from the IFM conference, and there is a doctor, Dr. Robert Roundtree, and one of my takeaways from him, this is what he said. He was the keynote speaker for most of the weekend. He said, immune system is not attacking, like people say they have an autoimmune disease, which a lot of people who have Candida think they may have something else, right? And so he had mentioned that autoimmune system is not attacking you or your organs. It's attacking your modified self. So they paid attention a lot about, the toxins in our body, the chemicals, all the different things, the foods, the standard American diet, all the sugars, all the alcohol, the smoking, all that. That is what our body is attacking. It's not attacking our body. And I thought that was very, very clever the way he said that. Would you like to share any thoughts of hearing that statement?
I agree. I don't think that the body attacks itself for no reason. I don't believe that. I don't think that it's like, oh, I'm singling out this organ and that organ. No, I think that there's something that we have eaten that has transformed or mutated a cell that has now become the body, that the immune system goes, I don't recognize that. Yeah. That's not me. That's not myself, right? Whether it's genetically modified ingredients, whether it's all the toxins that are, because like what we eat becomes us on a cellular level. So if what we're eating doesn't break down in the environment, is toxic, then your body's going to see that and say, whoa, what is this? This isn't supposed to be in here. Go get it.
Yeah.
Go get it. So I agree. I agree with the doctor. And also there could be bacteria and virus that the immune system is attacking as well.
Sure.
Yeah. So I don't buy and I see it all over the web. Oh, the immune system is attacking the body accidentally, or, it's not smart, or it's bit. No, the immune system is very smart.
Yeah, they've been talking
Very
about
smart.
how the body has so much cadmium
Mhm.
and plastics and petroleum and perfumes that lead to toxicity. And that's what the system, it's so perfect that it's trying to get rid of all of that. So while we're on the break, you had mentioned black walnut hull. What
Yeah.
is that for?
That is for specifically, it's an antifungal and it's a vermifuge. So vermifuge means that it gets rid of any unsavory guests that may be in your digestive system.
Okay.
So like worms, parasites, excess bugs, not your good bugs, but bugs that are not doing you a service. So black walnut hull is a classic for fungal infections.
Okay. And
Right.
how do you
So
use it?
you would take it internally, and I would take a low dose between 8 and 15 drops in 3 ounces of water 3 times a day for probably about between 21 to 28 days.
And that's 8 ounces of water?
3 ounces of water,
3 ounces of water.
3 times a day, 8 to 15 drops. And if you do have parasites or bugs or unsavory little creatures living in your system, then you'll get cramps and you'll have a loose poop
Mm-hmm.
as it gets rid of that stuff. And then you stop taking the black walnut hull once that happens, and you go back to normal eating.
You had mentioned something, and I totally agree. I've known people that are on Candida cleanse diets their whole life.
Yes.
Their whole life. And share
Decade.
why that doesn't work. Say why that doesn't work.
Because it doesn't get to the root cause of what's happening. Why is the body on the inside breaking down? Why are the valves weak? Like we just look at okay, let's take, don't have a pizza, don't have a sugar, don't have ice cream, don't have all the crap, right? Which is great. Take that out. But you can't just take out a food substance without looking at the entire life of the individual and saying, okay, is this person taking a daily walk? Are they eating seasonally? Are they relaxed when they eat? Because guess what? If you're not relaxed when you eat and you think that everything is going to cause a candida reaction, you're in sympathetic nervous system, your digestive system is not going to function well, and you're going to create an unhealthy environment where the candida, if it's there, can proliferate.
Well, not only that, but we're eating in front of our computers, in front of
Mhm.
our television while we're driving. Is
That's
that
right.
what you mean as well?
Oh, totally.
Okay.
People walking down the street eating, they're not in parasympathetic nervous system. They're not in rest and digest. They're in sympathetic nervous system. If you are walking and eating, that even animals don't do that, right? An animal will go kill something and it'll sit and it'll eat. But, us, we're like, oh, we got to go here, got to go there. No, we have to relax. We got to chill out.
You know what? Okay, guilty. I'm looking at some things as you're talking, things there that I need to change myself. Okay, so let's go back to the black walnut hull, because that is something you said you get it at your health food store.
Yep.
Is there a particular you also said that you could put it on your skin?
Yeah, you can put it on externally if you have a carrier oil. So like sesame oil or almond oil or coconut oil, you just mix a couple of drops in. And those people that have, they have the white patches that come up, it shows that they have an overgrowth of fungus.
Mm-hmm.
So you don't want to take off all all your bacteria. You don't want to go through like an antibacterial, which I think is crazy what people are doing, scrubbing themselves with antibacterial soaps and stuff like that. You just want to calm the candida or the fungus. You want to calm it down, take it internally, get it in check so that it goes back to where it's supposed to go and your body functions normally. But it's going to take time. It's not going to happen overnight.
Okay. How long does it take?
It depends. Like someone who has a Candida overgrowth that has proliferated their whole system,
Mm-hmm.
right? It could take up to a year.
Okay. But you know what? There are people that are on, like you said, decades on these Candida cleanses. And so what are other things that we need to know? So first you talked about eating seasonally, black walnut hull, which is really good for us externally as well as internally. Then relax while we're eating.
Yes.
Number 4, can you add any more?
Yes, I can. I can add these until the cows come home.
Okay.
So Candida, right? You said that Candida helps us digest when we're dead, right?
Yeah, digest our body. Yeah.
So on the emotional and spiritual level, what can't you digest? Or what's eating you alive? What thought, what idea, what relationship is eating you up? Right? So start to think about that, because our cells listen to us.
Yes.
And if we're in a relationship that's horrible, a job that's sucking the life out of us, if you're unhappy with your life, then it's eating you alive, literally eating you alive. So we have to look at that from the deeper perspective as well.
I like that. It's interesting. Everything, the root cause of everything is an emotional component. And so why not? I mean, our body is speaking to us. So if we think we have Candida or we have those symptoms, then that's a great question. What is bothering me so much that the Candida has listened and said, okay, let's eat it up, because the body wants to respond to our thoughts.
That's right.
So, and we're going to continue our conversation with Andrea Beaman when we return worldwide at whenyouneedafriend.com. We'll be right here waiting for you. That was profound.
Thank you, sister.
Think about, the fact that, and this is something that I took away from this conference and the cancer conference that I went to. I went to back-to-back conferences. And I think I need like a 2-month vacation. But in these conferences, what I got out of it is that there's so much that we don't know, right? There is the body's response to our thoughts. The body's response to our thoughts. And one of the things that I've learned from trying to, his first name starts with an E.
Eckhart Tolle?
No, not Eckhart. No, he actually wrote The Mind-Gut Connection. I've got the book in the bathroom. I leave those special books for people in the bathroom so that they can pick them up and go, oh, no, she's not crazy. So The Mind-Gut Connection. When you, and this is my quote, the body will not forget what the mind wants to neglect. And everything starts with a thought.
Yep.
And if we were to be fearful, and this is the original thought, what I was going to say, it could be scary, Andrea. All the things that are out there, all the toxins, all the chemicals, all the foods that are out there, the relationships that are toxic as well. We could possibly live in fear.
Yeah.
There's people you could be walking down the street, healthy as can be. Somebody can shoot you down. That fear trumps everything that we could be doing right.
Yeah.
Living in fear is just so horrible. So eating.
It's going to keep your body in a state of stress chronically. Emery
Mayer. That's it. Did you write that?
No, that was your guy.
Thank you, Brian. I started with an E. Thank you, Brian. You are listening. Thank you. Oh, I wish sometimes he could come on the show. He's such a cutie. Thank you so much. You do listen to my show. I appreciate it. So one time I asked Brian, this is so funny. I said, Brian, it's the anniversary show. Would you like to share what you've learned? He goes, I've not learned anything.
Oh, well, he knew the name of this cat.
Because I told him, I said, you don't even know, but you're learning things, Brian.
Yes.
Someday he'll go, where'd that come from? Oh, crazy woman I used to run the board. Thank you, Brian. I appreciate that. He's smiling at me. Okay. So, how many other things can we go? This is our last segment. Oh gosh, we could just do 10 more shows like this.
Well, I mean, now that we have the foundation in place, now we could talk about what you take out for about 120 days.
120 days.
Yeah, you take out the sugars, you take out the excess carbs, you take out the, anything that's going to make this fungus thrive. And, you just, like, I know people go crazy with the kombucha. I don't know if that's so helpful.
When I have too much kombucha, I get really crazy. That's
yes.
Good. Because I don't know how to take one sip.
You can text Lillian.
Then after I'm done with that, bring me some pickles.
That's 373-5959. Once again, here's Lillian.
Welcome back to the Lillian McDermott Radio Show, where we always learn and grow with one another. And I'm so grateful when Andrea Beaman is on the show. She is enlightening us all. And I mean, I've got some light bulbs that are ding, 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 dinging all over the place. We've learned so much about Candida, but not in the usual Candida, take away this, take away that. So we talked about eating seasonally, black walnut hull, for those of you who are turning in, relax while we're eating. And I am a huge, because there's so much that I do in a day that sometimes I'll eat while I'm working. And so thank you for making me aware of that. And number 4 is ask the question, what is eating you up? That is a brilliant question. Why am I being eaten up by my Candida? Because the Candida is responding to a thought that we are having of not enoughness or not having a voice or whatever it is. So now that we've covered these 4 steps, Andrea, let's talk about what's next for us.
So now we can focus on the food, right? So if you have a Candida overgrowth, you don't want to feed it sugar. So if you look at kombucha, right? The kombucha, which is a fungus, how does it grow? It's a SCOBY, right? It's a SCOBY that's a fungus.
Yeah, call it a Furby.
How does it grow?
In darkness.
In darkness.
It's a little funny character.
It is a funny character, and you give it tea, right?
Yeah.
You put it in a tea. Sometimes people will put in sugar. Sometimes people will put in fruit. How do you make your Furby grow? Your SCOBY.
I don't know. I have no clue.
It digests sugars.
That's
whatever.
Okay.
Yeah, it digests sugars. So with that in mind, you want to have the least amount of sugar, straight up sugar as possible when you're healing Candida.
Talking about processed sugars, because there's also fruits,
right,
that like berries that are wonderful for us.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah, so I'm talking about candy bars, even like the healthy snack bars from the health food store.
That's a bunch of lies.
It's just sugar.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah, so then if you're craving sugar, it could be that the fungus is hungry, right? So you're craving the sugar because the fungus is hungry. So you have to kind of starve it out a little bit so that it goes back to where it's supposed to go. And the black walnut hull will help with that as well. But you also want to figure out, well, now again, here's on the emotional level. Sweetness is sugar. So you're craving the sugar because you're feeding the fungus, but where is the sweetness missing from your life? Right? So if you're craving sugar, if you're eating your meal and afterwards at the end of your meal, you're like, God, I wish I had something sweet. What's really missing? Was the sweet flavor missing from the meal, which you can make with onions and carrots, right? Those are sweet. Or was it that you were eating alone? Was it that you lacked that family connection? Was it, like where was the sweetness? Where was the sweetness outside of your food that made you crave sweetness afterwards? And chewing. The more you chew something, the sweeter it gets.
Really?
So if you bite and swallow, then you're lacking that sweetness, because what happens, like let's say, for example, rice. Just take rice, for example. The more you chew it, the sweeter it gets because it's mixing with your enzymes, which is breaking it down into what? Sugar, right? So the more you chew something, the sweeter it gets, the more you satisfy your body on a deeper level. So this is all to consider, during your healing process, because people always focus on the one thing. What's the one thing I could do? What's the one thing I could do to heal this Candida that's been bothering me for 10 years? And then they go into that one thing, which becomes another one thing, which becomes another one thing. By the time 10 years goes by, they can't eat anything. Zero, nothing. Everything gives their body a negative reaction. So it's not so much taking away, which, like I said, I want you to take away the processed sugars, right? Let's take it away.
Yes.
It's more, what do I need to add in to my life, to my food, to my experience on the planet? What do I need to add in that's going to be sweet? It's going to be nourishing. It's going to support me on a deep level.
I like that. Okay, so with that in mind, there's going to be people saying, okay, yeah, Andrea, but what else can I give up? Because I hear you can't drink alcohol. I mean, this is when you're talking to someone that is, oh, I can't have this and I can't have that. But you're saying that there's more of an emotional component as well that we need to deal with, because it all begins with a thought, Andrea, and our body
Yes.
wants to be in alignment with our thoughts.
Yes. And also give yourself, like, release the rigidity, meaning when people get really, really tight, I can't have this, I can't have that. That's the first thing that they want. And they feel deprived.
Mm-hmm.
So if they feel deprived, they're going to want everything sweet that you can imagine. So you have to give yourself the freedom that this is just a moment in my life. This 3-month window or 120 days,
Mm-hmm.
Or 4-month window is just a moment. It's just, and you know how, I mean, it's going to fly by.
It does.
And then, by the time that you get to that end point, then you could put back in don't put back the processed sugars, right? But put back in, have a little glass of wine, see what happens. Don't have 5 glasses of wine.
Yeah.
Have a little cup of beer, see what happens. Don't have a 6-pack.
Only if it's in your gut, a 6-pack abs, right?
That's right. That's right. So, come back with moderation instead of, we have a tendency to binge and purge.
But you mentioned something, and I want to go back to that, which is that the fungus among us, the fungus in our body, is making demands.
Yeah.
It's Emran Mayer, and thank you, Brian, for reminding me it's Emran Mayer. And he talks about how the body, the microbiome, is now making demands. It's hijacked the brain. And so we think that that we are hungry for this. No, it's our toxins. It's our these invaders into our microbiome that are convincing the brain that this is what we want. So starving Candida, does that work? Because, we talk about starving cancer and starving, other things. I mean, does that work?
Well, it's a living thing that's inside your body.
Sure.
So even cancer, it's a living thing that's inside your body. So if you starve it, you're starving yourself.
Okay.
So there has to be a way to feed yourself.
But wait a second. Hold on a second. I want to add something. If I am not eating sugar, I'm not starving myself, though.
Right.
If I'm not eating
That's
processed
correct.
sugars, I'm not starving. So let's go with that. I mean, if I'm starving myself, I'm talking about not eating foods that are not even real.
Right. Right. I agree. So if you want, like, the starving of the cancer, it's just not, don't give it crap, right? Don't give your body the crap. Give your body the food that it's meant and designed to eat. And give it the things that it needs, and it will naturally get rid of the cancer.
Mm-hmm.
It'll naturally get rid of it.
Mm-hmm.
If the lymphatic system is functioning properly, if your liver is working well, if your organ systems are all in tune, then your body will naturally get rid of what it doesn't need, what no longer serves us. So, like, you talked about the gut-mind connection. So I'm going to take you back 3,000 years to Chinese medicine. There is no separation between the mind and the small intestine, right?
Mm.
So the small intestine, the job is to take what we need and discard the rest. What does not serve us goes into the large intestine and exits the body,
Mm-hmm.
right? So same thing here. What do we need and what's not serving us,
Mm-hmm.
right? So get these two connected and let's see what happens.
Very good. Anything else that you need to, that you say, if there's just one thing, Andrea, that we did not discuss that you would like to add to this Candida balance? Because there's a lot of signs. Real quick, we talked about fungus growing on your nails and your toes. Any other visual white dots on your skin? Any other visuals?
And jock itch. By the way, you're talking about men. Jock itch.
That's Candida?
Yeah.
Okay. Anything else?
Well, I mean, like, one thing that I could give people is, wherever you are in your Candida process, always remember to love yourself. Don't hate your body. Don't hate anything about yourself. Just love yourself. This is where I am in my life right now today, and things are going to change.
I love it. Andrea, it's always a pleasure to have you on the show. It is mind-blowing how much I learn from you every time you're on. So thank you so much.
Thank you, Lillian. I learned from you too.
Oh, thank you. And AndreaBeaman.com is where you can find her. And for those of you who are listening to this show with your jaw dropped because of all that we discussed today, please remember, we have the power over our bodies. It's time to take our life back. This is Lillian McDermott wishing you love, peace, joy, and unexpected abundance. Make it the best day
ever.
Good job. That is, I'm going to go out and get some black hull. That's all I'm
Black
saying.
walnut hull.
Black walnut hull. That's right. Now,
Yeah.
does it come in a paste, a tube?
A tincture.
A tincture. But you see, those tinctures have like alcohol in them.
They do. But do you drink wine?
Yeah.
Okay. So the amount of alcohol that you're getting in 8 little drops, not droppers, 8 drops of tincture is not going to harm you at
But
all.
is it coming from wine? You see, I'm allergic to wheat and rye.
No, I think it comes from straight up either vodka.
But vodka is wheat or rye or a potato. See,
Hmm.
that's what I mean, that there's like this balanced choice thing that I need to make. Can I take that in another form?
You can try. You could certainly get it in capsule and see
Will
if
it work?
I don't know. I know that as an extract, it's very profound.
Okay.
And if you're suffering with Candida, try it for a week and see what happens. You know, like see if you can find black walnut hull that's in some type of. Isn't that interesting?
Maybe if I can find one that's gluten-free.
Okay.
But
well, they do have them that come in a sugar base.
Sugar base?
Yeah, like a sugar extract instead of an alcohol extract for those people that are sensitive to alcohol.
Huh. Okay. Well, to me, I'm not sensitive to alcohol. I'm just sensitive to the rye. Rye is my worst allergy, by the way. And wheat. So I'll have to look and see. Maybe an organic product might be better for me.
It may.
So I'll start doing my research. This was great. I mean, so many people are just doing we didn't even talk about diflucan.
Oh gosh, that'll kill you. That'll kill you. That's
I heard some people they start off with the diflucan. They even talked about it in the IFM convention that, sometimes when somebody comes in, they have all these overgrowths that, perhaps maybe a first layer of, first to give them diflucan to kind of like bring things in balance. Do you disagree with that?
Well, it's very hard on the liver, diflucan. It's also hard on the intestines. So, people will start with one round, but then they're, after it doesn't work, when they go to another round and another round and another, and next thing you know, you're completely out of balance.
Well, you've given me some really incredible information to go after. Food for thought. And I still have my Furby in my closet.
Oh my gosh, that's
I haven't done the whole kombucha thing. I'm still waiting for Judy to come over and do it for me. I don't know. I'm still trying to figure out this kombucha thing, whether it's good for me or not.
It may not be, because, if you have a Candida overgrowth, it's, that's going to feed it.
Mm-hmm.
So you just hold off on that for a while. I mean, you'll be eventually able to have it, but maybe not right now.
I think my Candida, I hear the voice of the Candida go, "Me want food now. We want sugar now. We want this now." But it's interesting. I've never, I'm just thinking that perhaps maybe this is another layer of wellness that we need to do. And I want to encourage you, all of you, my followers, to think about I love that question. What is eating me right now? And because, Ange, I have to tell you, I lost my voice a couple of weeks ago, but I could say that it was a chemical burn. I could say that because as I was walking by, my husband was like cleaning out the sink with Kaboom. And I walked by it without knowing, and I inhaled the fumes and I could feel it go here. But here's the thing, and I lost my voice like a day or so later, but here's the thing that was going on emotionally. I was having a disagreement with somebody emotionally. I think that triggered the chemical reaction. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Maybe I've walked by that chemical thing many times, right?
Yeah.
Never affected me. But at that moment, I was having a disagreement with somebody via email that I care about very much. And there was a misunderstanding, and I didn't feel like I was being heard. And boom, my voice went away. So sometimes our body speaks to us louder than whatever chemicals and all the stuff that's happening. Yes, it could put us over the edge. But isn't it amazing that it took, when I started thinking, when I stopped and I thought, what am I not feeling heard? Why am I feeling my voice is not being heard?
Yeah, that's correct.
Anyway,
That's
just thought I'd add that to what you're saying.
Yes.
Because a lot of people don't want to do the emotional work.
No, it's scary. That's the hard stuff. Changing your diet is actually really easy compared to the emotional work.
You're absolutely right. And as a life coach, I see it all the time. I see people coming in and they want to release 50 pounds. But it's not about that. It's about what is causing you to, what are you holding on to? What else are you holding on to? And so diving in is can be ugly sometimes. But Dr. Lee Cowden, who was on my show, said, you know what, Lily, if you deal with the emotional aspect first, then the physical, you do the spirit, the mind, and last the body. And when you do the body last, it's very inexpensive to repair it. But if you start with the body first, it could be very expensive to repair it.
Yeah.
And take longer.
I agree.
Yes. Meryl, my dear, I know you're a busy woman. Thank you so much for being part of the show. And I'm looking forward to seeing you again. I hope not 3 months from now.
No, September. I'll see you in September.
That's right. But on the show here. So, by the way, for those of you, Andrea Beaman has a show. When can people hear it? And is it on the radio?
Yeah, it's on healthyviewradio.com. And it's weekly, but they could always watch the recording. They're a lot of fun. I have 2 other hosts, and it's a nice banter. We talk about all the healthy stuff that the myths, we debunk the myths that are out there.
I love it. I'm going to have to tune in and check it out. And that's healthyviewradio.com. Is that like a podcast? I mean,
well, we're live on Voice America. And then, they tie it up and wrap it up and throw it over to iTunes plus we live stream to Facebook at the same time.
Oh, how
And then
fun.
we take that Facebook feed and we put it up to YouTube.
That's incredible. Well, I'm going to have to check it out. It's amazing. You would think that I was like so in tune with Facebook and all of that. Go in, go out, go in. Just like I can't spend too much because then you can sit there and spend hours. And
you lose your whole day, your whole life.
The next thing you know, it's time to go to bed.
Yep.
But anyway, thank you so much, Andrea. And to you, my followers, viewers, thank you so much. I look forward to our next time we meet again.